Welcome to the debate. Today we are looking at Amanda Parks, the heiress of the harvest, and specifically how the protagonist, Annalise, dismantles corrupt campus elites by rejecting, superficial status.
Right, it's a huge theme throughout the novel.
Exactly. But reading through it, it raises this fascinating central question. Does her victory truly stem from her philosophy of strategic patience and deep roots? Or is it fundamentally reliant on the overwhelming advantage of her hidden billionaire inheritance? I argue that Annalise's triumph is a replicable masterclass in psychological discipline and institutional judo.
And while I contend that her patience is a luxury afforded entirely by invisible capital.
So the reason I see this as psychological judo is really how she weaponizes her own obscurity. Like, these campus elites thrive on performative visibility.
Oh, absolutely. They need an audience for everything.
Right. Meaning they literally don't know how to handle an adversary who stays hidden. Look at the advanced agricultural economics final.
Uh-huh.
When Vanessa plants that stolen answer key in Annalise's bag, the natural instinct is to panic, right? To report Vanessa privately beforehand. But Annalise waits. She lets Vanessa spring the trap mid-exam.
Which is just wild. Prompting the professor to search the bag in front of the entire lecture hall.
Exactly. Because Annalise had already, swapped the key for a formal academic integrity report detailing Vanessa's exact plan. So Vanessa ends up committing to the lie publicly. Annalise bypasses all the bureaucratic red tape simply by letting her opponent's arrogance do the heavy lifting. I mean, that requires immense discipline.
I hear that, but I come at it from a different way. Because that discipline looks a lot like, well, a smokescreen for financial brute force.
A smokescreen?
Yeah, you're focusing on the exam, but look at the mechanics of the senior capstone presentation. Julian hacks the projector to humiliate her, right?
Right, with the photos.
Yes. And Annalise counters intellectually with her soil enzyme patent. Sure. But why does she actually win that room? Because she reveals she has already used her billionaire inheritance to secretly buy controlling shares of his father's primary distribution company.
Well, she had to set the stage for that first.
But that isn't just a clever strategic reversal, She is deploying insurmountable financial capital to obliterate an opponent's entire business model. The money does the heavy lifting there.
I'm just not convinced by that line of reasoning because you're skipping over the psychological mechanism that makes the capital work in the first place. I mean, think of Annalise as a wildland firefighter executing a controlled burn.
Okay, controlled burn. How so?
During that capstone, Julian projects unauthorized photos mocking her parents' funeral. Annalise doesn't flinch. She deliberately absorbs that horrible attack, letting him burn through all his social and emotional fuel in front of the investors.
She definitely lets him dig his own grave there.
Exactly. She creates this massive dramatic vacuum. The corporate buyout only lands so devastatingly because she manufactured the perfect psychological conditions for Julian to overextend himself. The capital is secondary to the setup.
That's a compelling argument. But have you considered that psychology doesn't stop bulldozers?
What do you mean by that?
Well, when Julian escalates to legal warfare at the cemetery, his lawyers use a 1998 deed heir to threaten her parents' graves.
Right. And she uses the 1865 Cemetery Protection Clause.
Sure, she pulls a brilliant historical maneuver, citing that clause. But how does that scene actually resolve? It isn't a legal stalemate. She looks at Julian's lawyer and casually announces she just bought his law firm's debt.
Well, yeah.
And then she fires him on the spot. You just can't outpatient a legal ambush. You just buy the company driving it.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective here. If she lacked extreme psychological restraint, she would have flashed her wealth on day one, just to buy campus status and neutralize threats early.
I don't know if I agree with that.
But her true power lies in when she strikes. She waits for absolute systemic leverage rather than just spending her way out of immediate discomfort. It's the restraint that makes the capital effective.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you why. True patience is incredibly easy when it is backed by an infinite safety net.
Is it, though?
Yes. She can afford to wait for the perfect moment because she knows she possesses a trump card nobody else holds. Think about the underlying mechanics. If Julian had spent his legacy building a foundational empire, rather than just buying superficial campus clout, her tactics might have completely shattered.
That's a big hypothetical.
But against equal capital, her psychological patience just wouldn't be enough to win.
I think that really highlights the central tension today between strategic authenticity and systemic resource advantages. I mean, we both agree that Annalise expertly maneuvers her adversaries' vanity against them, constantly letting them trip over their own arrogance.
Exactly. But our divergence remains on whether her so-called roots could truly hold firm in that final storm, without, the billion-dollar safety net anchoring them down.
Right. And the text certainly leaves more to explore regarding those class and power dynamics, leaving it up to the listener to decide if patience is a universal virtue or simply $1 billion luxury.